We did it.
Well, welcome everyone. That was a challenge. The technical side is always
Looks
the
and
hardest.
sounds great. All right, thank you. All right, so we're here to rock and roll one more time and explore the wonders of consciousness. Go ahead, Corrine.
Okay, hi, I'm Corrine McLaughlin, and I'm going to be helping with the reviewing the chat. If you'd like to make comments and you're on live, you can comment in the chat box. Just type something in, and particularly if you have questions. And Gordon will be reviewing them from time to time and answering questions and comments. And if you're just listening to this later, you won't be able to see the chat, but the questions are all from the chat on the live broadcast.
Yes.
So, okay. And
all right, I'm just changing this. Okay.
So we're going to start with a meditation.
We're going to begin with a meditation, and then we will go into the process.
Great.
So let's take a few deep breaths. Breathing in peace and stillness, breathing out everything else. Where's your thing?
On the top.
Okay, so let's focusing inward, relaxing, linking in the heart, feeling that radiant sun of light and love in your heart. Feel that sun getting brighter and stronger, more and more radiant, filling you with light and love and spiritual power. Acknowledging the great divine presence within you and within all life and all beings and everyone on this broadcast. As we expand into this unity, not only with this group, as we hold this sacred space, also the unity with all light workers of the Light Alliance around the world, and with those great beings who guard and guide and protect our earth and all of us who are holding the light for the evolution of this world. We sense their presence and their blessing. As we open to that joyful, loving, clear frequency, and as a united group, let us radiate this love and compassion for all beings on our planet. All beings, north, south, east, and west, above, below. Love and compassion for all beings. And we especially send our blessings and support to all the immigrants who are feeling threatened, that they may feel a sense of connection to a universal source of strength and love. And we send especially our love and blessings to the environment, to the elements of the earth, the air, fire, and water, and the great angelic kingdom who co-creates our natural environment. We send our love and support to them to continue to balance and hold our world and our natural environment in the highest level energy possible. And as we open to the Light Alliance and all those great beings, trusting in their vision and their support, blended with the highest vision of all of us and all of humanity, we see the unfoldment of the golden age, Satya Yuga, where love and peace and joy and harmony are the keynotes of planet Earth and all lives upon, within, and around it. Thank you. Now that's reality. All right, so we are so blessed to be with you today, and thank you all for being here. And I know it's many things that can attract your attention, and we so appreciate that you are actually taking the time to be here with us. And this is really beautiful. And we have 114 people on the call right now. And last month we had almost 13 or 1400 people actually watched this show later. So it is really a wonderful thing that we're all able to share and communicate in this way. So thank you, Al Gore, for inventing the internet. So here we are. So what we're going to want to do is getting an overview of the entire situation, as always, because that's what's important, is to understand the big picture. And everything, according to what I'm receiving, that all the plans of the Light Alliance are unfolding light beautifully, and all is in divine order. I know this is hard to imagine given what we see in the mainstream news, but it is in fact true. Trump is intended to be a temporary catalyst for mass awakening and the American public taking ownership of our democracy. And that is well and fully underway, as many of you know, from all the incredible amount of activity and work that's being done by so many people all over the world. So another thing that's important to understand, Trump is not an unalloyed disaster. He is doing some things that are beneficial. However, it's not part of a conscious strategy or a plan or anything. He is just doing certain things that are beneficial and many things that are not. And one of the things he has done, and I saw a video of him stating this, that he didn't say he signed off on it, but he did agree to the currency revaluation, which allows all of this to proceed as it needs to. But his personal blindnesses and his arrogance have really made him less useful than he could have been to the plan. And they tried to communicate with him early on when he first was elected, but they told me it was not possible. He was not able to really get him to cooperate. The Light Alliance. The Light Alliance tried to work with him and get him to see what he could do that would be really beneficial, and he was not willing to go there. So he will and is continuing to do many misguided and ill-judged actions, which will only increase the resistance and the resolve of those who are defending our lighted policies and fundamental constitutional principles. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to continue more and more so. So the Light Alliance is still trying to balance and moderate his actions and offset the negative influences around him, as there are many people trying to do that. But his range of action is actually quite limited, because The Democrats in Congress are holding up the appointments and delaying that, which is clogging up the process in the Congress, which means there's less and less things can be enacted. That's one point. And there is this increasing resistance to everything, which is actually building up an energetic wave that makes it very difficult for him to function. He is highly susceptible to the mass consciousness because, as you know, he has a real ability to read and manipulate the mass consciousness of this country. He's done that very skillfully. But the downside of it is he's also very, very affected when that wave turns against him. And he doesn't have the ability to protect himself from that energy because he does not have a strong internal psychological, psychic space within himself, as we can see. So this destabilizes him psychologically, and that is part of what's happening. And this could cause more and more problems. Now, I know many of you saying, oh my God, then that means he's got his finger on the button. As I've said, the nuclear button. As I've said many times, that is not an issue because there will be no nuclear trouble on this planet. There will not be any nuclear war explosions or anything like that. That is part of the new conditions, the new rules of the game that came in after 9/11. So, and the other thing is that the day of revelation, as many of you know, this is the day when there's this profound alignment between the 7 solar systems, and there will be a wave of love radiated to our planet that is beyond anything we've ever experienced before. A powerful, high-frequency energy that will really lift and raise the frequency of everyone on this planet to whatever degree from wherever they are normally. However, people have to be able to move into love and understand that love is a fundamental truth and be able to resonate with that frequency. If they cannot, they will not be able to remain here. That is the reality of what is coming about. It's necessary, obviously, because as long as we have this tremendous polarity in the 3D life of this world, where it's light and dark has been on forever, that is going to shift, and we are going to move out of that polarization. Those who can move into the love energy and the light energy will be here to continue to and develop and regenerate our planet and all of our institutions. And those who cannot will no longer be able to be present on the earth. It's really like a cosmic sort. And that's what the day of revelation is about. And some would say, we need that now. Yes. And that is certainly it's very close. And I'll tell you what I have received about this. And this is new. Basically, they're telling me now that the day of revelation will happen. There's a 75% chance. It's not guaranteed. So please keep that in mind. 75% likelihood that the day of revelation will occur around the spring equinox. That's what I've gotten. That's what they're telling me. So that is extraordinarily good news. And if it is not exactly at that time, it probably won't be way longer than that. So this is extremely important, obviously. And what is going to happen at this point is really, really important. People who cannot embody love, who do not understand it as a principle, will not be able to remain here. Now that means that, people like our current occupier of the White House and others like Pence and Ryan will not likely remain in these positions. And it will be a whole new reorganization of the government, because it's so corrupted right now by money, by manipulation of the voting, by manipulation of the congressional districts, on and on. There's so much going on. We all know a lot about this. It's just not a workable system any longer. A lot of people, Jean-Marc, saying, bring it on. Yeah, well, that's where we're going. So just hang in there, guys. It's really not, it's not a problem. So, and now another point is Vladimir Putin, who he's become a figure of great notoriety given our so-called president's relationship to him has and was originally working with and cooperating with the Light Alliance. And he's still doing that in the sense of this whole new reorganization of the financial system. He is cooperating with the White Dragon Society, the Asian secret societies who control so much of the gold in the world, and other people who are part of the Light Alliance who are planning this whole reorganization. He is cooperating with that because he wants to reduce the power of the United States. So, of course, that meets his personal nationalistic agenda. So he is supporting that. But many of the other things that he was supposed to do, he's not doing that, and that is causing a problem. He is likely, depending on the choices he makes between now and when this all occurs, whether or not he will be able to remain is the question. So so the Light Alliance, just Corinne's asked me to define that, is that grouping of civilizations from other systems that is deeply engaging now with our planet from all over the solar system and beyond our solar system to help support our evolutionary transition into this new golden age, which is underway. And they are here helping us. They get able to give more and more support now because of 9/11, which at that point they were given permission to take off the negative aliens from around and in the planet, and also to provide more light and love to Earth as we needed that boost to break through some of the control systems that were there. And that is underway full blast, as we can see. So, so that's all part of what's going on, and we're all part of it. So the thing is that it seems as though the dark forces have control of the government and Trump is running rampant. I mean, that's only the apparent picture at the moment. But it's built on false foundations because it's violating cosmic law. You can't say, we're going to work for this particular portion of life, whether it's an ethnic group or it's a country or it's humanity over nature or anything else. You're creating a sphere of limitation, which causes a friction and a violation of being out of the law of one. That's the reality of our existence. We are all one, and we are all part of this whole living, incredibly complex living system that spans beyond galaxies everywhere. So as soon as you do that, you create friction with cosmic law. And with that friction comes problems, major problems, which ultimately always lead to the defeat of those kinds of efforts. When you work for the unity of the whole and the good of all, you will find success. When you do not stand in that understanding, that you will not be successful. And so this is a condition we have now with those who are running the government in the United States and other places, but especially now in the US, it's acute. And what the other extremely important factor in all this is the combination of the will of the people in line with the higher will, with cosmic law, which will break this whole cycle permanently. This is why we're in this crisis. We're coming to the end of Kali Yuga. We have to show that the will of the people do not accept this kind of separative, negative, anti-nature, anti-different groups and religions and ethnic nationality, all of it. It's all going to be swept away but in order for us to fully understand what is actually at play here and what is at stake, we have to see the darkest aspect of it played out on the big screen. And that's what we've got right now. It's all playing out on the big screen. So, and it's just that will of humanity and of Americans and all the will around the world is definitely the key, aligning with that higher will that's setting the future of this planet. And so you see so many people now joining in groups and giving money and going to demonstrations and writing letters and going to meetings, and you name it, to get there across that we will not accept this distorted, dark, separative approach to the way the principles of our nation, America, and it's around the world. It's not just in the US. So that is building up the energy towards the day of revelation. That's what it's all leading to. So this is very important. We got to understand clearly the distinction between Kali Yuga, the old system, and Satya Yuga that's emerging, and it needs to be made crystal clear to everyone. And that's what we're in the middle of. So now we have had some of the moves that Trump has made have been, as I said, beneficial. It's canceling the TPP, the new director of the FDA, some of the alternative medical doctors are very excited about the person he's put in there because that person is very supportive of alternative medical treatments. It's very interesting. Some of those moves have been helping the plan, and some of the moves are against it. Like his attitude towards the environment and EPA is horrible, and it's complete travesty, and it will not stand. But the problem, so some people have this view that Trump is of the light for those few things he's done right, and if they don't really care about the separativeness and all that, they think, oh, Trump's really on the light, he's wonderful, and that. But it's not really a consistent or reasoned approach. He's just a few things he's done right. But for instance, the media. Now, we all know that the media has supported the cabal for a long, long time in certain aspects of the mainstream media. Not all of the media, but a good part of it. And so now, because he's attacking the media, people are saying, oh, great, Trump's good because he's going after fake news. And there has been fake news about the world. There's no question about that. But
he's creating his own fake news.
He's also creating his own fake news. But the main thing that's important is that he's not really going after the media supporting the cabal. He's going after whatever they say about him that hurts his tender little ego and he doesn't like. And it's completely self-serving. It's not about these larger questions. It's about what affects me and how I don't like this people saying bad things about me. And that's it. So this is what he's doing there. So there's hardly anyone in his inner circle that is linked to the Light Alliance as a positive influence on him. Bannon is serving the interests of the cabal, not because he's a cabal member. I don't think he's that smart. He doesn't really know about that. But he's promoting division, anger, and hatred, and that totally serves the interests of the cabal. And the problem with Trump is he can't see who people really are, as he only looks at people through the lens of whether they serve his interests and support and praise him, because he's completely internally dependent on receiving that kind of feedback. And if he doesn't get it and he gets anything contrary, he gets very upset, which is the fragility of his inner psychological state. And that's really clear. And I think most of us can see that really clear, easily. So we have this whole process then of clarifying what is the difference between the old and the new. Now, the other thing he's doing, of course, which is ridiculous, is he's going to increase the amount of money to the military, and he's going to cut social programs and the EPA significantly. But this is all because this is going to stimulate a rethinking of what are the priorities of our country and the attitudes that determine them. What do we really want? What do we really believe in? With Obama, there was an assumption that a peaceful, cooperative approach would lessen the need for the military force, and the budget reflected this. With Trump's fearful, aggressive approach to relationships with other countries, there's an atmosphere being created to basically show that their world is more unsafe and to justify huge increases in military spending. This is an example of how the leader sets the tone for the country and creates a reality that people are influenced by. Of course, many lighted people in the world are not actually accepting this. They know that this is completely, it's his creation, and they're not going to buy into it. And that's what so many people now are saying very clearly in their statements and demonstrations and all the rest. So this is really an important thing. So do we have some questions here to ask? Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, the question Tom asked. Thank you, Tom. About is the day of revelation before the April 15th? Well, there's a 75% chance that it will happen around the spring equinox, which is March 21st. That's possible. And so this is really one of the things that it is also possible. What I've gotten is that we could have the financial reorganization before the day of revelation. There's a lot of people who are expecting that to happen anytime. I have gotten that it can happen before the day of revelation. So that's a very interesting perspective, and I hope that that is in fact true, because this will help to stabilize and reassure people that they will be safe, their families will be secure, and that all this is going to be reorganized. That would be a wonderful thing. We don't know for sure absolutely it will happen, but it's a real possibility. Well, this idea, Charlotte's asking about this Jacques Fresco's Venus Project and New Humanity Architectural Designs and his concept of a resource-based economy. Anything that is going to stabilize the planet and the ecological systems, that's going to make fulfill the basic needs of humanity for food, shelter, clothing, and healthcare, is going to serve the unfolding plan. That is the key. All taking care of humanity and of our planet, and a fairer distribution. So if people, and there are many, many beautiful, wonderful people. I don't know the specific person, Jacques Fresco, but it sounds good that there are people who are creating these new systems, that are developing beautiful planning and architecture and ways of developing cities floating in the oceans, whole new ways of concepts of doing all kinds of things. That is really part of the new. It is the unfoldment of the new. And there's always been this visionary cadre in humanity who sees that they have wonderful, beautiful ideas. Of course, none of them hardly have been ever enacted because the Kabbalists block them every step of the way, always, because they don't want anything like this. And they don't want people to expect that it can be a different world, a different system, because that would take away their power. However, with the removal of the Kabbal's control, which is steadily unfolding, and that is really doing well, and it is actually continuing to unfold the process. And these visionaries will have more and more influence, and then that will really, really make a huge difference. They will be empowered for the first time. So Emily's seeing a black screen. Do other people see, is the system working for you? Please give me some feedback on the chat if other people can see me and hear me. Because it may just be Emily's issue, or is it the whole system? That's what I need to know. I think it's probably just her.
We would have heard.
Yes, what? Yes, you can see it working. Okay, fine. So Emily, there's something with your system. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm sorry you're having problems. We will record this, and you will be able to see it later if necessary. Yeah. So all of the information that I'm sharing with you now is from the contact that I have with the master, who is one who is very deeply involved in the unfoldment and implementation of this plan. So that is really a crucial thing. And I have a statement I want to read to you from him at the end of this broadcast, directly from him, although most of the information is directly from him anyway. But this is a very specific statement that he made for me to share with you that I think you'll find inspiring. Certainly inspires me. Other things that are going on now, this is a really important issue here that we need to explore. And this is about the whole question of the power of the state, the nation state. And there are people in the light movement who think that the state, the government, whether it's national or local or anything, is a terrible thing. And that the solution is to eliminate nation states and give all the power to individuals who can organize their own groups. And that means that there would be no real possibility for people to have a government that works and takes care of what we need to do as a group together. And this is a very serious misapprehension of the situation. The reason that people are so against the nation state is because the national government, in many ways, has been under the control of the cabal. It has done many things that has been very harmful to human beings and the environment, and therefore people don't trust the national government, and they want to. So their solution is get rid of it. That's the answer. Of course, that's a attempted structural solution to a consciousness problem. It is not about the structure, although the structure certainly needs careful repair and monitoring now because of what is being done with the way it's being manipulated at the moment. But it's all about consciousness and what consciousness is actually guiding and using the systems that we have. So we have this, movement now underway where people are, want to just eliminate the government. It's extreme libertarianism, goes beyond libertarianism. No government. Everybody just organizes themselves. They set up their own systems for fire and safety and police, and not an option. Not. And it works, and it would work very well for some people who have the resources to hire people to secure them and protect them, but it would not work well for most people who do not have that kind of resources. It doesn't work. So the solution is and will be a redistribution of power. And the way that will work is, rather than eliminate the nation states, we will reduce some of the power and decision-making at the national level and devolve it to individuals and communities in different states, and giving more and more of the local decision-making power to the states and to the individuals. Without the interference of the cabal, this will work very well. It will help bring the government and its choices and decisions into alignment with the will of the people. And I mean, do you think people are going to vote or support an idea that says, okay, let's raise let's give bigger tax cuts to the wealthy, and let's take away all the social programs for people who don't have very much money? Do you think the ordinary people are going to support that? Not happening. That's the whole thing. It's like the policies that we have that've been put in place, many of them, not all of them, and Obama certainly tried to change that, and he had some success, but now they're trying to get rid of all what he did. Those policies are no longer, would not fly if there was more power and decision making at the local level, and that's what's going to happen. On the other hand, some of the power will still remain at the national level, but there will also be an increasing of the international agreements, international arrangements that allow people to work together to solve big problems on the planet. That also is part of the new way of handling power. Now, of course, people are really against this, a lot of people, because, again, the institutions that have been created, whether it's the EU or the UN, and I'm not so much the UN, but some of the many other international institutions, have been co-opted by the cabal, manipulated and used for their own purposes, and they've really been very harmful to people. So people are very suspicious of all that, and that's understandable. However, if we have, and when we have, the day of revelation, all that kind of motivation to control, to manipulate, to take it for oneself will be eliminated. Then these institutions can function the way they are meant to function, as guarantees of our safety, our security, our well-being, guided by the highest good for all humanity. That is the definition of the new world, the new age. And that is part of the plan, is now moving forward, and that is happening. So, okay, now let me just, I'm going to go back to the questions now. So that's how we need to devolve some of the power locally and move some of the power up into the international level. And of course, we'll still have our national government, and each government will have its own realm of responsibility and decision making, but it will not be manipulated as it is now by the cabal. That's the key point. So now, of course, people at this time, as I keep saying, need to understand the level of corruption of all those who do not work for the good of the people. This will ultimately lead not only to the end of the Republican Party, but with the day of revelation, the elimination of all parties and all divisions, because those who are present will be dedicated to the good of all life on earth and from within the consciousness of unity. So there won't be any need for oppositional polarized parties or groups in conflict, because it will no longer be required for our evolutionary growth. And instead, there will be growth through creative achievement, and that benefits everyone. And by everyone, I mean all life on the planet, including the natural world, human kingdoms, and our relationships to the higher worlds and higher civilizations. So that's all part of the process. So that's really important. All right, so let's look at some of these questions. So one person said, you say not 100% of the revelation will take place on the spring equinox. What will prevent this from happening? There's a little bit of a misunderstanding when I use this percentage. I didn't mean that only part of the revelation will happen. It's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. The 75% is the chance or the likelihood of it happening specifically at that time. That is what the 75% refers to. 75% chance that it will happen. But when it happens, it's going to happen, all of it. People ask me, well, will some people be exempt? Not likely. How are you going to be exempt when this energy pours into the planet and everybody is affected? There's no exemptions. But the exemption is that if you're aligned in love and you're holding that in and know how to resonate to that frequency, you're fine. It's like a whole bunch of energy coming in and saying, you're right. Love is the answer. All you need is love. Well, that's simplifying it grossly, but it is a certain truth in it. And therefore, what we will be doing is everyone's capacity for love and for understanding and recognizing in our consciousness that we are unified. We are one united being, all humanity, all life on this planet, all life on other systems and planets and solar systems. It's all one. Now, we can't go there in our consciousness totally and enter into the solar system. Believe me, I've tried, and it's dangerous. You can't do that. That's a function of a solar logos or planetary logos, but not us. But we can realize that unity is reality, and there is no boundary to it. It is throughout the universe. That's the recognition of a wise person, a wise civilization and a wise understanding of our place in the cosmos, and that we are unique, a unique planet with incredibly beautiful natural beauty, and the life on this planet is so extraordinary. It needs precious protection and love, and maintaining and restoring, and we will be doing that all out. That will become our prime directive, is to look after, support, and love and care for all life on this planet. Human life, animal life, plant life, mineral life, every kind of life, and our relationship to other life from beyond our planet. All of it will become who we are as a civilization. That will be our prime focus. And we won't be fighting over resources or who has the most power, because we'll all know that that's completely illusionary, and everybody will have enough, and therefore it is not necessary to do that any longer. That's what's called leaving 3D polarity and moving into fourth and fifth dimensional reality, which is the world of unity. And we all can enter that at any time that we choose. Okay, so let's look some more at these questions.
Say the name.
Okay, Melody has asked a question saying, if you feel you are a true light worker or volunteer from other realms, are we, just by our presence alone, changing the vibe of those around us? Absolutely right, Melody. That is true. And it is, in many cases, of course, we can't sit down with people we love or know and say, oh, well, you know, really it's all about this, and the love is coming in, and, you know, and all the things that we're talking about here. There's a lot of people who are conceptually not able to accept that at this time. That's okay. But by being present with them and being loving and kind and supportive in whatever way they can understand, you are helping them raise their frequency. It's an example that resonates with people and lifts them out of their typical way, that if it's not aligned with love. This is really important and really helpful and beneficial to them. And of course, as more and more of us move into this higher spiral of consciousness and energetic frequency, it really changes the entire frequency of the planet, along with all this energy that's pouring in from the galactic civilizations, our alignment with the heart of the galaxy, and you know, the photon belt, you name it, it's all happening, and it's all contributing to this raising of the planet's frequency. And it will have a culmination point. So that's really important. So, all right, so let's go through these questions. So I think these are important and interesting questions. How can we stop the corruption to crop up again? Well, remember, you know, it's so interesting because we're so used to thinking about the world as it is, right? And so, of course, people are corrupt, right? They're going to do all kinds of horrible things. And then you got to be on them, and you got to watch them, and whatever. Well, that's true now, no doubt. However, if we have a change in the consciousness of this planet, in that you have to be able to resonate with unity consciousness, with love, in order to be here at all. And we recognize that we're all one body, one being, all of us together, each with our unique expressions, our wonderful contributions that we all make ourselves to this beautiful world, and all of us are contributing to making it so. Where's the corruption? It's like, why take anything if you don't need anything? Why try to have power over anyone? Because if you know that you are like the hand, and you are the thumb, and somebody else is the finger, and somebody else is another finger, it's like, well, do I want to have power over this finger so I can control it? Does it make any sense? No, of course not. That's not happening. It's just not, it just doesn't compute in that other kind of consciousness. I know this is a real stretch for people to understand this, but it is the reality that we're moving into. And there are many people now already who are in this consciousness. I'm not talking about something that's just ultimately someday. There are many of us who are in this consciousness right now and are already holding that vision and operating from that vision and living our lives that way and contributing and loving and supporting so many people in every way we can. That's true. That's beautiful. And that helps so much to bring this into being. Because one of the most powerful things that we are learning in this whole experience is that we have creative power. We, humanity, and the vision we have for our future and how we want the world to be is so powerfully creative that the cabal spent millennia trying to convince us that we have no power, that we're worthless, we're no good, and that they have the power and we should follow them. And that was a complete attempt to block us from understanding that we have the power to create reality, and that and collectively, if we all working together to create that positive reality, there is nothing they can do to stop it. And not only do we have that power, when we're getting support and help from higher levels about what making that happen, because our vision aligns with their vision, which is the good of all, then they haven't a chance. The game's over, folks. It's already over. We're just working through the denouement here, but it's going to happen. And that's my view. So I hope this is helpful to you. Let's see what else we got here.
Julie,
will there be
July 19th date?
I don't know much about July 19th specifically. I mean, I could certainly inquire and find out. I haven't heard anything about it particularly, but that is always, there are many dates that are important all the way along. Will there be an announcement for the Day of Revelation? Well, oh my goodness, this is so much fun. You know, if we're all sitting there in our little worlds, each of us in our little world, and all of a sudden we wake up one morning and you feel really, really good, really, really joyful. You're really in bliss. You're just really amazingly high energy inside of you and all around you. And the people around you are all the same. And the people, you know, the people who are really nasty and, you know, not very nice to be with at all, they can't seem to find them. They're not around. Where are they? What happened to them? When you start experiencing all of that, and we experience that collectively, I don't think you're going to need an email to tell you that it's the day, right? It's not necessary. However, what I've been told is that the Light Alliance will provide multiple, they actually have, I've been told, 30 plus hours programming for television in all the languages of the world that's prepared to be put out to the world, to humanity, when this occurs, so that people will understand exactly what is going on, what the plan is and what this means for us, what the plan is to take care of all people, clean up all the slums in the environment, and do everything that we're talking about on through videos.
And the history.
And of course, the truth about the history of our life here on Earth, the truth about the aliens coming in here and trying to, functioning like predators and trying to take over the world, et cetera, et cetera. All that will be brought into people's consciousness. That's the way that will happen. What might keep the chances of revelation happening? I assume you mean not happening in the spring, Mary Linda. It's only a matter of, as far as I understand it, is the progression of human consciousness and the alignment process with the 7 solar systems, which I've mentioned many times. That's the core of how this energy is going to be released to our planet and all the planets in the 7 solar systems. You know, that's a very we can barely imagine how complex a process that is. And it's not simply, you know, okay, turn the dial, and then, you know, there's a lot going on to make that occur. All I can tell you is that I rely on what I am being given about when this will be and what is going on with that and where we are in that process. And I see that as being pretty for me, pretty reliable. And that's what I go with. And then, of course, it's up to you to use your own discernment, your own intuitive evaluation of, whether you want to believe what I'm saying or accept what I'm saying, or do your own investigations internally. Ask your soul, does this make sense? Is this right or not? Or ask, I'm not saying you have to believe anything I'm saying just because I say it. It's totally up to you to decide how you relate to this and what you would like to do with it. And that's honoring your freedom, your free will, and your intelligence and intuitive capacities, which we want to do. So we can't, it's up to each of us to live in and be the light and love we are when we focus on defeating them or stopping them. Well, it's an interesting point about, if we, this is Donna saying, if we focus on defeating them or stopping them, we can't simultaneously be the light workers we are here to be. So it's up to each of us to live in and be the light and love we are. Well, this is a very interesting question, a good one, a very good one. Thank you, Donna. Based on deep esoteric teachings that I've studied for a very long time, in World War II, there was a huge question that came up for light workers of the times, whether they should send light to Hitler or not. Because, and the answer was, you don't send light to him because it just gives him more energy. You continue to oppose him and to do everything you can to defeat him. However, the key is you must learn to do it with not hatred or anger in your heart. You have to learn how to do it with love in your heart. So, every person who is doing anything that's very harmful to the world and to humanity is still a soul, a divine being. Now, they may be deeply deluded and deeply caught in all kinds of consciousness traps and emotional dead ends and all kinds of things that they need to continue to do this, but they're still a soul. They're still a divine being. And therefore, we always have to remember that and honor that as we also lovingly and strongly continue to oppose the things that are truly harmful and to humanity and the world. And we stand for the truth. We stand for the light. We stand for love and compassion. This is, in my view, that's the true spiritual warrior. Doesn't mean you're going out and fighting, although people are standing up very strongly against things that they see as being wrong, which I think is correct. And this is what made Gandhi and Martin Luther King so powerful, was that they understood this principle, that you must not hate or oppose with anger and hatred in your heart. You must do it with love and understanding of who you are working with. You are still in opposition to another aspect of the divine. Now, that's not a simple thing to accomplish. It's much easier to say, I'm going to get those, and we're going to knock them out. Or to say, oh, this is not right. It's not spiritual. You should just hang out in love and light and be there. And that's really the spiritual thing to do. The answer, for me, as with many things, is a synthesis of both practices. A much harder thing to do than polarizing in one or the other. That's what synthesis is about. You expand to include, yes, I am a light being. I embody and hold that energy, and I hold love, and I for all and everyone. At the same time, I am going to strongly oppose that which is evil and not good for all of humanity. That's the higher place to stand on this kind of an issue. So I hope that's helpful. That is my view of it, and it's certainly what others have felt as well. Okay, someone's asking, Gregory's asking, what is exactly meant by the removal of those not aligning with love? Are they going to be beamed up to a spaceship like Star Trek, or arrested, or what? Okay. this gets, it's a little complex, but many people are going to be able to leave Earth, move into, in their consciousness, move into another dimension that is particularly similar, it's very similar to what they were experiencing in their lives.
Their own vibration.
Their own, totally calibrated to their own sum total of their vibrational frequencies in their being. That dimension can be on the astral plane, or it can be on another system outside of Earth, where there are many, many, many systems of where people can go and learn and continue their evolution. The whole purpose is to help them grow and in consciousness. So for instance, if you are a person who believes that, power over dominance and, exploiting people and doing whatever you want to do and for your own benefit is the way to go, then you will find yourself, that person will find themselves in an environment where that is the norm. And they will get the opportunity to understand and learn why that is not the best way to live. Probably through some painful experiences and karmic feedback. And eventually they will come to an understanding that it's much better to work together, to cooperate. And in fact, they could even go into systems where if you don't cooperate, you die. That is also a possibility. And so that can happen on the astral plane, which means they would leave the body and go into the astral plane and continue existing there. Or they actually leave the body, and in both cases, they could leave their body, or they could be on the astral plane and not leave the body. But they would, if they leave their body, then they would go into a system where those conditions exactly meet what their own resonance frequency is. That's the way that works. And yes, and people ask this question all the time. And I say, yes, there will be bodies. That is likely going to happen. But, it's not going to be overwhelming. And I think we will find that there will be ways that this will get dealt with, which I haven't really explored in great depth, but I think will help.
Scroll up.
Up, okay. I hope that's helpful. Okay, so Sherry's asking whether it's a long stretch before we move into this reality. No, it's not. That's what I'm getting. And I try to be as accurate and clear as possible, not let my hopeful optimism influence what I'm receiving, which is always a possibility. But that is as clear as I can be about what the timing of this is. Now, again, I'm not making an absolute statement that it's going to happen at spring equinox, because that's what they said. There are factors that can influence it. But that's a reasonable possibility that it could happen at that time. So, yeah, let me just go back up. Hold on.
Scroll up.
Yeah.
It's a long way. There's a lot more.
Okay. Okay, I love this, Kundi. Thank you. There's no stopping an idea whose time has come. That's right. And what we want to be doing is making sure that that idea is what we are holding in our consciousness. And the more of us that are doing it, the more we can help people understand that that's where we're moving, and hold that vision, meditate on that vision, talk about it, share it, and just keep being in it, the faster it's going to happen. So if you want something you can do to make this speed up, that's it right there. Okay. People are asking, is Elon Musk light or dark? I feel he is light. I don't see anything indicating that he is dark. I think that some of his earlier space rockets that he put up were blown up as part of an opposition to him, because he is trying to make space travel more available, and he's a real pioneer, and I think he is going to have a major role in the future. Do you sense the veil thinning? Absolutely, the veil is thinning. Veil meaning that any energetic field that prevents us from accessing higher levels of consciousness certainly is thinning. And it has been steadily for quite some time now. It's part of the dispensation that was given to the galactic civilizations to increase the light flowing into our Earth and help humanity move out of this incredibly trapped consciousness that we were in leading up to the time of 9/11. At that point, they were given permission to do all kinds of things, and part of it was, as pouring in more light thins the veil itself, makes it easier for more and more people to access higher levels. And that is, in fact, what's going on. And I bet if you did a bit of research on how many people were offering channelings on the internet 10 years ago or before 9/11, and how many are offering them now, I think you would see a gigantic increase, because more and more people are having that access. Now, it doesn't mean that all those things are accurate, but certainly there's people who are getting all kinds of impressions more than they ever have, and that's part of it. Okay, here's a good one. Thank you, Phil. This is lovely. Phil is saying, I usually wake up in a state of bliss and gratitude, though the nasty people are still here. Well, that's a tribute to your own consciousness. And that is what I'm saying, is that we can live in this reality now. That's why we call our website livethefuturenow.com, because we can live in this future. We have that power. We have to get really clear what that future would be like. We have to remove any parts of us that would be in doubt or fear or whatever. And then we can just direct our consciousness to go into that future and access our future self, and ask your future self to connect with you and learn what your future self's vision is for you and who you will be in that future. And you can live there. That's reality. That's our power. We have immense power that we haven't even a clue about. And that's been what we're learning to do right now. And it's why the cabal was so desperately trying to suppress us, not believe in ourselves, not trust ourselves, fight with each other, on and on and on, because they knew once we got that power and we understood the power we have, they're done. And they're just about done now, because people are waking up to how much power we really have to create our world the way we, according to our highest visions. And that is happening. So, do you
Scroll up.
Okay, let me go with this one. Judy, yeah, I know. Thank you. Are we talking about timeline shifting? Yes.
Read the question.
Yes, timeline shifting is another way of talking about it. There are alternative timelines, and people, the other thing is, people will have, each of us can have an individual timeline. You know, it's our destiny timeline. We create our timeline of what we will experience based on our choices. And there are collective timelines as well. So what I'm encouraging us all to do is to focus on creating that timeline oriented to the future that we all want in our greatest, highest visions and dreams. The future we all long for in our hearts. You know, it's not that different. If you go talk to people in any country in the world, I will guarantee you, if you get down to it, the core things are what they want. They want peace. They want to have a beautiful family, a good place to live, plenty of food, education, healthcare, an opportunity to make a contribution using their unique gifts, make that contribution to the world. That's the humanity's vision, and it's everywhere. And all we have to do is unleash that and keep that in our consciousness, and that is where we will go. And then there are people who, you know, their vision is get control of everything and everybody and manipulate and all that. Goodbye. Okay, what are we looking at here? What is delaying the financial reform from being delivered? There's a lot of things that enter into this. You've got national governments. You've got the cabal still operationally trying to block things. You've got people who are not cooperating. All of that is there, but it is ultimately underway, and it will occur. There's nothing ultimately can stop it.
I think you got to scroll up. There's been a lot of other comments.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Let's see if there's a lot.
Or
down.
Okay, now we're going back up here. Hold on a second, folks. addiction. Well, that's a question. I think that
repeat the question.
Debbie wants to know how will the day of revelation affect people who are suffering from addiction. Well, you know, there's a whole thing we have to understand. The collective energy field that we all are living in, the sea we swim in, emotionally, etherically, and our life force energy, and mentally, the field we live in has a tremendous impact on all of us. There's no question about that. And if we are, sensitive and open, as many people are, they get impacted by all the stuff that comes at them from the media, from other people's thoughts, from other people's emotions, from stuff going on all over the planet. Many of those people, some of them at least, become addicted because they're trying to block out. That's too much stimulation and it's too negative. That happens. And so if you can imagine that all that would be removed and no longer be present here, then that need for the addiction would be lessened greatly. And they still may need specific treatment for removing the physical body cravings for it. But the reason for the addiction in the first place would be mitigated. That's really crucial. Does that make sense? I hope so. So we'll know when we all simply feel really good and everyone around us is in the state. That will be a signal for sure.
Go up and see all the others.
Okay, all right, let's go on here.
Go all the way to the top so you can see everything.
Yeah, Donna's great. That's really good, Donna. Thank you. We need to stop asking for when something will happen for us or to us, instead of focusing on the reality of creating our lives every moment now. That's it right there. That's what I'm trying to say. Waiting for someone to do it is not the answer. We make changes in our consciousness. Now, they can assist us. And if you ask for help in using your own will and your own energy, initiative, to change things that you know are not good for you, and you will get assistance in that process. But each of us has to use our own will and initiative to make those movements in consciousness. Okay? Yes. Will our bodies, minds respond to this shift by getting stronger and healthier? Absolutely. What about animals, domestic and wild, cats, dogs, horses, cows? What changes for them? Well, you can only begin to imagine if people are no longer aggressive, are no longer unloving, and no longer feeling stressed. Because one of the things that animal kingdom does that most people don't know is that the animal kingdom serves as a buffer for humanity between our consciousness, a normal daily consciousness, and our subconscious. They buffer the energies in the subconscious. That's why having a pet or a companion animal is so valuable for people who are in stress or in difficulties, because it helps to buffer the energies in the subconscious, some of which can be our own subconscious and some can be the collective. So that's really valuable thing that animals provide for us. Okay, what's happening with Antarctica? Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff about Antarctica. That's a big thing because people have been talking about that. Yeah, I don't. That's a complex question. What I'll do is we'll table that for next time. Okay, I will get into Antarctica. I want to do some more research on it and really get real clear about exactly what to say. But basically, what I've been told is it's now under the control of the Light Alliance. It's no longer a Cabal command center. So that's the fundamental truth of it. And then someone's asking, is Saint Germain going to walk into Trump? Oh my goodness. What do you think? What do you think about that? I'd love to hear your opinions. Go ahead, type in some opinions, then I'll talk about that one. That's so much fun. Yeah, will people who are ill yet highly evolved, survive the day of revelation if they're loving? And my answer is probably yes. I mean, I can't make a blanket statement saying yes, all those people will or won't, etc. But its chances are very good if they are truly loving, and that they would have many positive results on their health. Thank you, Sherry, for that appreciation. It's very helpful to have that kind of feedback. It's beautiful. Is the Light Alliance protecting the Oroville Dam, etc.? The Light Alliance is always doing whatever it can to minimize damage, to minimize disasters and catastrophes of all types on all levels. Sometimes there is allowed things to happen in order for us to learn certain lessons, in order for certain karma to be fulfilled. There are a lot of reasons why these things happen. But I do not see, as I've said many times, that the world is going to go through some massive catastrophe where everything is just destroyed. It's not the plan at all. That's what I've been getting for a long, long time. Okay.
Say the person's name.
Lynn has asked, will we need to pay our rent and mortgages? Will we receive our paychecks and Social Security, etc.? Okay. The plan, as it has been given to me, is that the whole system will be radically reorganized. There will be debt forgiveness. There will be a reorganization of the whole way the banking system works. Mortgages themselves will probably disappear. And a lot of other many different changes, including funds being released for every individual on the planet at a certain level, so that everyone knows they have what they need to maintain themselves. That's what I've gotten. It's in my book. I said that in the book. And I haven't had anything contradicting that at all. So I am assuming that is still the plan. So that's what we are looking for as we go forward. Let's see what people are. Okay, hold on a minute. All right, and then Phil said something. He woke up and he had a beautiful dream, and he felt really inspired when he awoke, and all that wonderful stuff. And that is really likelihood you're going into the fifth dimension, into the future, and experiencing what that is like and the energy of what it's like. That's probably what it was. Oh, that was Dave. Sorry, Dave. Yes, and I think that is really very likely. Okay, someone's making a distinction between the event that will occur with the day of revelation and another event where we will shift of dimensions. Well, what I've been getting is that there is a shift of dimension contained within the day of revelation, because our consciousness will very naturally move into the higher frequencies. Now, it doesn't mean there won't be more coming later. It's very possible, likely. But the thing is to remember, each person will move from where they normally function and operate in consciousness up. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to go to the same place. I mean, the same level everyone will go into higher dimension consciousness, unity consciousness. But it doesn't mean that they'll all be exactly in the same level. Some people will be able to go on and have cosmic contact. Some people will just have this tremendous loving feeling for their family and their neighbors and everything. It all depends on where normally people are focused and their capacities to be able to encompass these incredible realities. That's something you have to develop. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
Just read through a few. There's a lot.
Yeah, this keeps jumping around, so I have to get back to where it's fine. I love these questions. Should we send? Yeah, well, I already said send Trump energy is not really the best plan. You can just ask for his highest good.
Trump.
Okay, someone said in response to the Saint Germain question, their first impression was no. I would agree with that. That's my sense about Saint Germain coming in and walking into Trump's body.
No.
He's
not ready.
No, he's not ready for that. It would be a disaster for him and for everything. You have to remember when people get so many things in their downloads about everything, and it's important to use some degree of logic and common sense trying to evaluate these things. And if you look at where Trump is at and what his consciousness is like, and to imagine that would be a suitable vehicle to channel the energies of Saint Germain, I mean, just on a purely rational level, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This is the kind of thing that will be often. Gus, I love it. Thank you, Gus. He says, sad, disaster. Beautiful, Gus. Thank you. And okay, and then Don Turner is asking, when will the hierarchy externalize? Now, this is based on the idea that there is an idea that it ultimately spiritual masters that will actually physically appear in human form and be among us and help guide the unfoldment of the new civilization. That is definitely part of the plan. If you study the deep esoteric teachings of Alice Bailey, in there they said there's 3 criteria for this to happen. There has to be a cleaning up the political system, there has to be sharing among people on the planet, and what was the
churches.
And reforming the churches of their corruption.
And Christ within.
And people contacting and understanding the Christ within. And then at that point, there would be this tremendous shift where these beings will come out into human form and human presence.
Explain what hierarchy is.
Hierarchy being the masters and the higher beings who are guiding our process. So that's the ultimate plan. And if you look at what I've been talking about as a whole, it is about sharing resources, taking it away from people who have too much and make sure everyone has enough. It is about, we're seeing a massive cleanup of churches to some degree, not complete, but it's underway. And political reforms are definitely on the agenda and in process. So we are, in a sense, beginning to satisfy the prerequisites for the appearance of the masters and the Christ, ultimately, back to humanity, who will be recognized by all religions of the world as their own great teacher, whether it's the Imam Mahdi, the Bodhisattva, or any of the other
Maitreya.
Or Maitreya. All of these will be experienced as their expected, or the Messiah will be their expected great one, returning to inform the entire world what is the foundational basis of the new world and the new civilization that we'll be building. Will the Master appear in physical form after the day of revelation? At some point, yes. When is, I cannot say. I haven't really gotten into the details of that. So Gus is saying, thank you, Gus. That's a great thought. Love it. Keep it up. We are all want to be in that kind of consciousness. So Gus said, do you realize that next time we are having this conversation on the webinar in April, we might have a lot of interesting results to share from the day of revelation, which happened at the spring equinox. Just saying. That's very true. All right. So yes. Okay, Jean-Marc has asked a very important question. Was the master who I am receiving my information from ever incarnated as a human being? Yes, he was. And he was very well known in various civilizations, not Saint Germain, but another master who had tremendous impact on the world. Okay, so I think we're pretty much at a point, and Kareem wants to say something important, and I want to say something as well. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. Hello again, everyone. Thank you for your comments and questions. I just want to remind you our next broadcast will be April 1st. Interesting, April 1st, okay. And we really appreciate your donations, your support of this work. As you know, we make this broadcast free, but we appreciate your support. And you can go to our website, livethefuturenow.com, livethefuturenow.com to make a donation. Or I think, yeah, Ginger, there you can see on the chat, for those of you who are watching it live, here's a place where you can go to PayPal to make a donation. You can see the link there. And Gordon's going to put up the information about that, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And you can also look for articles and videos on our nonprofit website, visionarylead.org. There's a lot. We've been doing that website for quite a long time in our work, so please check that out. So
yes, and thank you so much, Tom, for reminding me about the statement from the master.
Yeah, let's end with that.
What happens for me when I get into this whole process, I just go into another state of consciousness, and I often, I'm famous for this, lose track of the detailed things that I need to do, like reminding people of things or whatever. So that's why Kareen does this, because I can't, it's hard to come back and do that. So, but the other thing is, I want to thank all of you for coming, and many of you are making donations, which we deeply appreciate, and thank you so much for that. And
so
I'm going to share with you this statement, which I think you will find interesting. Okay, this is the way it was presented to me. The citizens of the United States are currently demonstrating that a fearful, aggressive, and defensive relationship to other nations is not what they hold as a vision for their nation. This is what will decide America's future. Statements, pressures, and influences from all sides are supporting a diverse, open, kind-hearted, and creative society. This vision strongly expresses the true heart of the American people, and it cannot be denied nor ignored. This dark, separative evil-doing will be defeated because the consciousness of the majority of the people do not support it, but instead have an inclusive, expanded understanding and are demanding that this be enacted in the political realm. The heart of humanity is sound and true, and the voice of the heart and the illuminating light flowing into and through humanity and the earth will ultimately triumph. The focus of the Light Alliance today is supporting this awakening empowerment of ordinary people to demand that their vision guide the future of the nation. This intention will be fully realized within the U.S. and eventually in all countries on Earth. The day of revelation will represent a cosmic seal of agreement with the lighted hearts and minds of people of our Earth, signifying that their intention is aligned with divine will. A cosmic seal on the hearts and minds of humanity. People will ultimately realize that their highest vision for life on Earth is completely supported by cosmic law. The energies flowing from the great trinity of the divine, light, love, wisdom, and spiritual power to do the right and good and serve this highest evolution of all lives on, within, and around our Earth supports this unstoppable process. This outcome is unfolding, and nothing in any dimension or level can stop its fulfillment to facilitate the joyous evolution and expression of all kingdoms and beings in every dimension. That's what the master says about our situation. Not quite what most people would imagine to be true. If you like, I can make this available and type it up and make it available to you if you like on our website. I'll put it on the website, and you can, if you'd like to refer to it or share it with other people.
And also just to thank everyone again for participating. And as you saw, the link was up there for donations. And if you would like to write a check, the address is to Firebird Group, 369B, 3rd Street, San Rafael, California, 94901. And we're saying that for those listening to the broadcast later. So
Yeah, and you
can't read the chat.
And you can go to our website and you find the information there too.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and thank you for your feedback. It's very heartening to know that you are, this work we're doing is having a useful for you, and that's really wonderful.
Also, we have a Facebook group that you can participate in, and Mark Lurch is facilitating some really interesting commentary and posts there. And you go to LTFN, Live the Future Now, initials, Transfiguration, I believe it. Now I'm spacing out.
Anyway, we'll put it up on the website. You can find everything on the website.
Yeah, those initials stand for Live the Future Now, Galactic News, and then write out Galactic News on Facebook.
Yeah, you can find it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. We love you all. You're so wonderful, and thank you for your staying with it and continuing to be open to these ideas and to help hold them in our consciousness, in the consciousness of humanity, so that we all can live in this glorious new future that is rapidly emerging on this planet. So God bless, and may you go in peace, love, and joy all of your incarnations.
Much love and blessings, everyone. Have a good month. We will see you soon.